Hey. Alright, here we go. Weevil Underwood, and he is against PaniK. I have made a little bit of a change to Weevil's deck. There was a suggestion in the comments as well, and I had actually been considering it for a while as well until I kind of forgot about it, and then some rounds went by, but I have made a few changes to Weevil's deck. Weevil had a 50 card deck as I was following a starter deck kind of theory when I was creating the decks, but Weevil's deck is so uncompetitive I kind of have to remove some of his cards. There we go, it was Meriadoc Maya who said it as well. To remove the 10 worst cards from his deck, which I done. I got rid of cards like Nightmare Scorpion, Winged Cleaver, and that Acid Crawler, I think it's called. So some of his monsters that were under 1,000 attack and defense have gone, along with Dark Piercing Light, and I took out Red Medicine as well. I don't think they're cards that Weevil... They are very starter deck-esque cards, but it's making Weevil's deck pretty much uncompetitive, so we should see some better matches from him from this one. He is against PaniK, and if there's any duelist that Weevil could beat, it could be PaniK. So Weevil started with a Giant Flea, PaniK played face downs of his own. And there's Killer Needle, which is the first monster that Weevil summoned in his match against Yugi. PaniK flips a Trap Hole. And Weevil does have 7 Tools of the Bandit on the field, and he does activate it. It's the cost of 1,000 life points, or should we say that D in Keto that he used last turn. So Weevil gets to keep Killer Needle on the field. Oh, Mask of Darkness. That'll allow PaniK to get that Trap Hole back into his hand. And Weevil will get a direct attack. Very nice. 1,200 off PaniK. He's down to 6,800. And Weevil off to a good start. 2 decent monsters. 2 mid-tier monsters on his field. And PaniK responds with a face-down spell or trap and another face-down spell or trap and a Dark Hole. Alright, there goes Giant Flea and Killer Needle. And PaniK plays Versago the Destroyer at 1,100 and goes with Dark Energy as well. Interesting choice, but I guess if PaniK hasn't got anything else, he wants something of some degree of attacking power on the field. There's 1,400 off Weevil. He's down to 6,600. Okay, Gokabor. 1,400 defense. Only 1,200 attack, but it will act as a shield for the time being unless PaniK has something else ready to play. Which he very well could. Alright, PaniK responds just by going straight to his battle phase, and that will be just a stalemated. No damage to either player, both players maintain their monster. And, ooh, Metal Armored Bug. Weevil does have the basic insect in his card. I kept that in his deck because he used it in the anime. However, it will be able to be destroyed by Versago the Destroyer unless, you know, PaniK does something and decides not to attack for whatever reason, but I don't see that happening. Down goes Lord of Zamir. And Weevil's basic insect is destroyed. Metal Armored Bug is an 8-star, so it does require 2 tribute summons. 2,800 attack though, it is very strong. However, don't forget that PaniK did pull a Trap Hole back from his graveyard, so if Weevil plays Metal Armored Bug, I think it's almost guaranteed right now that Weevil will assume that PaniK has Trap Hole on the field, so even if Weevil summons Metal Armored Bug, PaniK is likely to spring Trap Hole, so Weevil is kind of stuck here. So strategically, playing Metal Armored Bug right now probably isn't a good idea. There's Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth, which is very difficult to summon. And looks like Weevil was looking at those magic and trap cards, and he's gone straight to his end phase, so he is concerned about that trap hole that PaniK got back from the graveyard, because if that gets sprung on Metal Armored Bug, then Weevil is going to lose a ton of life points. PaniK loading his field with monsters. There's a stop defense, which doesn't really help Weevil in this situation. Weevil's not going to be able to defend with this forever. And with the concerns of that trap hole, there's a 5th face down, or another face down monster. PaniK is up to 5 monsters on the field now. And Weevil is not drawing cards that he needs. And still concerned about that trap hole. It is probably almost guaranteed that trap hole is waiting. And that'll do it. Sword of Dark Destruction has been equipped to Visago the Destroyer. It's now at 1800. Weevil's defense can no longer maintain. And Visago the Destroyer destroys the big insect. Weevil down to just Gokabor on the field. And can now no longer tribute Metal Armored Bug, but Caterpillar. I did leave Caterpillar in his deck. He does have a 40 card deck now, but that is it's a massive loss for Weevil. He's now unable to defend. Hyro's Shadow Scout is flipped up. That will discard any spell or traps from Weevil's 3 cards that he drew. He drew 3 monsters, which will all stay in his hand, but none of them in this situation can really give Weevil much assistance. Flying Kamakiri 1 can summon a wind monster with 1500 or less attack straight to the field. Up comes Castle of Dark Illusions, now also flip into attack mode. And it looks like PaniK is going all for it here. There goes Gokubor. And Lord of Zemia attacks that Caterpillar. Okay, so what have we got? 920 and 650 and 1300. 1300 of 53. 43, sorry. 3550, is that what he has left? 30, okay, 3730, I was way off. Very odd life point count, but now it does look like, and there you see Lava Moth, which also can't be summoned. That needs Cocoon of Evolution. Weevil has basically got nothing in his hand at all. It'd be good for a starting hand, but not this. Not up to turn 19. Down goes Flying Kamakiri 1. And there it is, Trap Hole. So it wouldn't have mattered if Weevil summoned Metal Armored Bug. He would have had Trap Hole flipped on him anyway. PaniK had this one completely defended. And Weevil will have to discard a couple of cards to the graveyard as he has more than 6 in his hand, but it's not going to matter now. PaniK has over 3730 points of attack on the field, and Weevil appears to have taken a loss in this first match. There it is, Lord of Zemia, and finished off with Castle of Dark Illusions. PaniK's trump card from the anime. Alright, Weevil takes the loss in the first match, so even with some of his worst cards out, he's still losing. Weevil's deck is probably, I would say Mokuba's is probably the weakest, but Mokuba has at least won a match. Weevil, on the other hand, still has not won. He is, I think, he is 0-5, I believe, Weevil. But you never know. It's level tuning. Reduce the level of all face-up monsters you control by 1 until the end phase. Okay, Weevil wins rock, paper, scissors. He elects to go first. And let's see what Weevil pulls into his hand. Sorry, PaniK. We are from PaniK's perspective this time. There's Dark Chimera. There's also Earthbound Spirit, which is a 2000 defense. There's also Visago the Destroyer, Dark Titan of Terror, and Polymerization. So Visago the Destroyer could take the place of either Ryukishin or Frenzied Panda. That would summon a Barox. Despite that, Barox isn't really that powerful, but It is a special summon. Special summons were a rarity back in this era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright, Weevil has started off with 2 face-down defense. And there's Metal Guardian as well. Dark Chimera could be called to the field, but it's only 16, well it's 1610. Weevil, PaniK elects to go with Dark Titan of Terror instead and keep that 2000 defense on the field, which isn't a bad idea. There's Komutoko, that's a 1400. Alright, Weevil has drawn, and oh, here we go, there's a tribute. Komutoko is gone, and it's Empress Mantis, 2200. Weevil's one of his stronger monsters. He does have Great Moth, which is a bit stronger but harder to summon, and he does have Metal Armored Bug as well, which is a 2800. His strongest monster is 3500 with Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth, but having to wait 6 turns after going through the Cocoon of Evolution stage and pulling that off, very, very difficult. Dark Chimera, even with Sword of Dark Destruction, that wouldn't be able to do it. The Fiend's Hand has been placed down, and Sword of Dark Destruction would lose you 200 defense as well. It doesn't do any defense increase. So Weevil with the advantage now. Empress Mantis on the field. He plays another face down defense. That's a bit of a surprising move. It could be a basic insect or a caterpillar, or just something that Weevil slapped down in defense. Alternatively, if he's not opting to attack, one of those face downs could be a man-eater bug or something like that. Alright, Weevil in trouble now. Ushi Oni has just come to the field from PaniK, that's a 2150, and as we see from his hand, Sword of Dark Destruction is played. That's going to get Ushi Oni to 2550. And able to... oh, Magic Jammer. Weevil was sitting and waiting, and he's had the perfect card. And Caterpillar was just discarded to the graveyard then, so I wonder what Weevil has face down. And now Ushi Oni is going to launch an attack, and okay, Petite Moth. Not a strong card, but I do believe you need Petite Moth. I think you can use Petite Moth or Lava Moth along with Cocoon of Evolution. Alright, Ushi Oni is at 2150 again from the effect of Magic Jammer. Empress Mantis removes Ushi Oni, and now PaniK back to no monsters on his field. Ooh, Yellow Luster Shield. That would have been handy a few turns ago when Earthbound Spirit was down. Weevil, if he could summon Metal Guardian, he would have some defense, but he cannot. It's a 5-star monster. He will need to tribute. And in the effort to protect his life points, PaniK did put down Visago the Destroyer. I think I might have called him Weevil again, but Weevil now firmly in control, 2200. Ah, King Fog. Ah, what a card. He was one of the guys I used back in my very early Forbidden Memories. That's why I have a fondness for King Fog. 1000 attack was strong when you started that game, until you got to Villager 2, who would fuse Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. Weevil, again, still playing face-down defenses. He's not in any rush to attack. Like I said, he could have a Man-Eater Bug waiting. It could just be a basic insect. Oh, Dark Hole. That is a clutch draw from PaniK. However, there is a little bit of a problem with PaniK. He may have got Weevil's field all out, but with only Metal Guardian and Dark Chimera in his hand, PaniK can't summon anything. He does, and the other card in there is Polymerization, which also isn't helping much. Flying Kamakiri number 2, 1500, and PaniK has no defense. Alright, PaniK down to 5450. Weevil's still at 8000. He's in a good position. Oh, D-Spell. It's not going to help PaniK. He's drawing a brick right now. It's good to see Weevil's deck is a bit more competitive, since I did make those alterations to his deck as well. And Weevil doesn't play anything else, straight to the battle phase. There's another 1,500 points off PaniK, now down to 3,950. So Weevil with just over double of PaniK's life points. There's Graveyard in the hand of Invitation. Alright, Weevil with a draw, 6 cards in hand. Or Girochin Coagita, that's a 1,700, one of Weevil's better, probably his best actually, 4-star monster. Makes it a sure thing with Girochin Coagita. And Flying Kamakiri 2 gets an attack in, 2,450 life points remaining for PaniK, and it looks like Weevil might pick this one up. There's Trap Hole, which PaniK still not really drawing any monsters. And it's hindered him. Well, this will be the last turn. PaniK hasn't got the means to defend. Girochin Coagita attacks, and Flying Kamakiri 2 will knock out the rest of PaniK's life points. Weevil picks up the win. One more victory and he can pick up his first season point. Would be nice to see Weevil finally get on the board after this much, but let's be fair, his Duelist Kingdom deck wasn't that good. Not in real life. That's probably why he got eliminated in the first round to Yugi, who's, to be honest, Duelist Kingdom deck is okay, but wasn't anything special really. Alright, we'll flip back to Weevil's perspective for the third round, the third match for the tiebreak. Obstructed Barrel. That's a cool card art. Gives me a little bit of a Kingdom Hearts kind of vibe off that picture. Alright, PaniK wins rock, paper, scissors. He elects to go first. And Empress Mantis and Metal Armored Bug in Weevil's hand to begin with. He does have Big Insect as well. PaniK with a face-down spell or trap. And a face-down monster as well. Alright, Weevil, Girochin Coagita, good draw, 1,700. And, PaniK again with that trap hole. PaniK's been lucky at drawing that trap hole. Weevil activates Stop Defense on PaniK's face down. It is a 3-headed Geetor, it's a 1,200. And Weevil does elect to use Fissure. That's not a bad move because if PaniK contributes 3-headed Geetor, even if he lays something else down and attacks, Weevil will take a lot of damage. PaniK now though can't tribute anything stronger, for example, a Reaper of the Cards, King of Yami Makai, Ushioni, etc, etc. Duku Roizo the Grim Reaper is what was played, and only at a 900 attack. Weevil lost a few points and has just drawn a D spell. A Big Insect will be able to destroy Doku Roizo the Grim Reaper. I mean, it's a big insect going up against a zombie wielding a big metal cleave axe looking thing. You would think the zombie would win, but that is not the way the Yu-Gi-Oh game works. If Tokurozu was in defense mode, it would have actually been a tie. However, it looks like PaniK has another monster for backup. He's put that face down. Although Weevil, though, he can summon Empress Mantis, and he does. He elects not to go for Kuagata Alpha, and maybe try and get Metal Armored Bug to the field, but Empress Mantis, even so, is still a very, very good card for this stage of the game. Majin Gun is destroyed, and PaniK on the back foot now, 7,700 points. Not low on life points, but staring down a 2,200 attack. And with PaniK's strongest being Ushioni, and then King of Yami Makai. He's gone with a face-down defense. There's Great Moth, that won't help Weevil at this stage, but down goes Kuagata Alpha. And, Weevil takes a risk. He attacks with Kuagata, and it pays off. Graveyard in the hand of Invitation. And now 2,200 points coming off of PaniK. He's down to 5,500. And this could be it. Weevil could be picking up a first win within the next couple of turns. But we will see. What does PaniK play? Oh, clutch. Absolutely clutch from PaniK, and Weevil's in trouble. Only Metal Armored Bug and Great Moth along with D-Spell. The Shadow who controls the Dark is an 800 attack. But PaniK not taking a back step here. He's willing to play some weaker monsters down to attack, but Weevil in big trouble. He needs to draw something. Yeah, and he doesn't. He can at least protect his points with Petite Moth, but that's all. He plays down D-Spell maybe as a maybe to try to pique PaniK's interest. We'll see if PaniK will take the bait, but and here we go. Yugioh is on the field. Shadow who controls the Dark is tributed. It's a risk from PaniK. It could be a trap hole from Weevil, but it isn't. Petite Moth is destroyed, and PaniK can breathe a sigh as Weevil's bluff of a D-Spell hasn't worked. Oh, Keto. It'll increase Weevil's life points by 1,000, but he'll lose that again straight up next turn. He really, really needs something, and he needs it quick, but with the 2150 staring down, Weevil's defenses won't be able to hold against that. And Ryukish empowered 1600. So 3750 coming off of Weevil. 3750 take 3550. 3550. Yes, indeed, Weevil now in trouble. With only 3550 left, he is remove trap. That is the absolute brick. That is an absolute brick of a hand that Weevil has drawn. And Christ, if PaniK attacks, it's over, because Weevil hasn't got enough life points to sustain the attack against Yugioh and Ryukish empowered. And what's going to hold PaniK back from attacking? Nothing, probably. He summons a Sangan, but it's all academic now. Unfortunately, Weevil has come up short again, even after having his deck altered in a way to make it, should have made it more competitive, but he did pick up another loss. Weevil now 0-6, I believe. PaniK picks up the season point. Let's flick over to that tournament bracket and have a quick look at who's playing next, and the score tally. So Duelist Kingdom season, we have seen Weevil lose to PaniK. And we have one more match for this round, and that will be Mako against Mokuba. So yeah, it is a little bit of an inconsistency at the moment just because of my broken season, but we are very slowly getting through. The progress says it is at 34%. So we are a third of the way through all of the Duelist Kingdom games, and very much so Weevil, okay, now he's at 0-5. You will see some, so you see Paradox who have played 6, Weevil and Bones who have both played 5, but they, it means that games remaining that Weevil and Bones do have another game in hand just because of how my seasons has been scattered around, but everybody will play 15 games. So up in Battle City, let me just flick this over. In Battle City, we have got Yugi and Joey. That will be coming up after this duel, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting that one produced. Yugi and Joey, that should be a good match. Who will win back control of the Red Eyes Black Dragon? It's a duel that we didn't get to see at the end of the series because they cut it short on us. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you're all doing well. Stay safe, keep well, farewell.